welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Leslie Weidenbender here at the Indiana State House, and I'm with Representative Judd McMillin. He's a Republican from Brookville. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me on.
I wanted to talk to you about your legislation that would require drug testing for some welfare recipients. Tell us first why you thought that was a good idea.
Well, it's really a bill that's designed to help people who are in unfortunate circumstances. It is only designed to affect TANF recipients, and TANF recipients, by definition, are the people who need the most help from our social safety net that we provide, and everybody wants to be able to help them. But when you take into account that these are folks who need help from their neighbors, and if they are also suffering from a drug addiction problem, then it only makes sense to make sure that in addition to giving them the help that the social safety net provides, that we try to help them beat that drug addiction too, so that they can get back into the employment roles and taking care of themselves.
Now, I know this has been a somewhat controversial bill. How do you structure this in a way that doesn't run afoul of any constitutional issues or other provisions?
You know, it's really interesting here in Indiana. We've had the opportunity to learn from other states who have done this. So we've been able to see what the courts have said and then try to craft our bill around the mistakes that have been made in other areas. Recently, the Southern District Court came out in the Florida case and basically said, Florida, what you're doing isn't right, but here's how you could go about doing it. And I'm really excited to see that our bill kind of falls right in line with what they're saying should be done.
What are the kinds of things that you've done to try to make it in line with what the court said?
Well, the big issue that you really see is Fourth Amendment issues. Obviously, unreasonable searches and seizures are prohibited under the Fourth Amendment. And to be able to conduct a search, we need to have reasonable suspicion. So what we've done is we just included in the application for TANF the requirement to take a simple written test. And I don't profess to understand the psychology of how these things work, but they're designed to give an indication as to whether or not somebody has a propensity to be able to abuse drugs. And this particular test is used in other parts of the country, has a 94% effective rating, and so what will happen now is folks will take that test, and if it shows that they have a propensity, then they may be tested with an actual drug test.
What if someone is found to be using drugs?
And that's a really important part of this bill, Leslie, is if they are found to be using drugs, they don't have to lose their benefits. They're encouraged at that point to get into a treatment program, and they can maintain their benefits if they're willing to go into the treatment program. And then there are measuring sticks while they're in the treatment program to make sure that they're making progress. Now, with that being said, if they don't make the necessary progress, or if they're uninterested in taking that direction, then they do run the risk of losing their benefits.
I also wanted to ask you about your expungement bill. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, and it's great to discuss it along with the drug testing bill because most folks don't see those things as working in concert with one another, but they really do because both are designed to help people who are in unfortunate circumstances. And what our expungement bill would do is, right now when somebody makes a mistake or has a past, then they're followed through with the rest of their life with that mistake, especially when it's a felony conviction. And every time they have to go in and apply for a job and they have to check yes on that box, it all too often goes in the trash can, and now those folks aren't able to get out and again get back into the employment sector and take care of themselves. So what we're doing is we're saying, look, if you've had some mistakes in the past, but you've evidenced that you've cleaned yourself up, we're going to give you the opportunity to have that record expunged so that you can go out there and get yourself a job and start taking care of yourself. So you can see how those two bills, where one comes from a very conservative principle and the other one comes from a side that would be usually diametrically opposed to these things, kind of meet in the middle to say, hey, you know, folks who are down in their luck, we don't need the government keeping them down, we need the government to help them out.
Representative McMillin, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
I'm Leslie Weidenbender here at the Indiana State House. I'm with the StateHouseFile.com and Comcast Newsmakers. Please join us again.